Sharada Mananda Loka Pranaya Ghana Ghanatyam Apta Sakalan Gunan Vasa Bandhi Gulachi Nārada Keli Siddhai Nikunda Nārada Keli Siddhai Jajali Vijuktir Apekshaniya Nikunda Nārada Keli Siddhai Jajali Vijuktir Apekshaniya Tatrati Dakshadati Ballavasham Vande Turasi Charanarabindam Vande Turasi Charanarabindam Vande Turasi Charanarabindam Vande Turasi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society, founded by His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu back in 2002, I believe, or 4, one of those dates. But it has a history. We're not a new group that just appeared on the scene, but a group of committed Prabhupada disciples that have been engaged in propagating the truth about the existence of Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation, which is the essence of our teachings, and is the essence of the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because we're looking for truth. Not mental concoction, not mental speculation, and certainly not Sahajism, which is rampant throughout the world, especially the spiritual groups that are operating on this planet. People in regular religion don't understand the term Sahajya, but it means a fake or imposter or pseudo devotee or pseudo member. But we are not a pseudo group. We are actually a group of Prabhupada disciples, yes, and we're committed to protecting his unchanged message that he gave to us, this instruction, he gave it to us as our prime duty in life. Because what is the value of a changed item when it was presented by Krishna himself through the disciplic succession to people who are trying to learn the absolute truth, what is the purpose of life? And that leads me to this next point, the court case in India. Yes, there was a big court case decision by the Supreme Court of India between two factions, the ISKCON faction and the ISKCON Bangalore faction. And this term, Ritvik, has become more popular now than ever because the ISKCON group are calling the Bangalore group Ritviks. It's a Ritvik group. And, a lot of people have been, especially against myself and Yashoda Nandana Prabhu, are claiming that we are promoting Ritvikism. It's an ism like communism, like capitalism. Now there's a new term, Ritvikism. Now who made that name up? Let me give everyone a little background. It came from a godbrother of ours who formed a group called Krishna West. And he was formerly a sannyasi in the ISKCON group, yes. And he manufactured a new philosophy. For example, as a sannyasi, he decided that he would no longer wear the sannyas clothes. No, he wears Ralph Lauren. Oh, excuse me. And he also decided no more neck beads. No. Even though philosophically it's important for us to wear these neck beads for protection at the time of death. But no, for him, I'm protected. No, you're not. And he decided no more danda. I won't use a danda. And no more japa beads. He decided, I don't think we need to chant japa. So, is he a bona fide authority in Vaishnava philosophy? Well, by action, no. And you have to judge a person by his actions. That's a simple thing, where this is common sense understanding. And then all of a sudden, he came up with the term, he started to call me, he called me a Ritvik, and other members of our group and other groups, a part of a movement called Ritvikism. This is his genius. I think he went to school for a PhD, and the only thing, Prabhupada used to tell us, and it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, PhD means plow department. Somebody that thinks they're intelligent, but really they're a Sudra. That's all, they plow the fields. So he used that expression, and it was popularized by our godbrothers, and they started to call this group that were initiating people as Prabhupada disciples as Ritvik, or part of a Ritvikism movement. Ritvikism, you can hardly say it. In fact, Yashodananda made a very interesting point in our discussions recently, and I'm glad all of you are coming to the programs and becoming educated properly, not indoctrinated into this mistaken understanding of philosophy. Truth is what we're about. There is no such thing as the term Ritvikism in the Vedic scriptures. Well, Is that an authoritative statement? No, it isn't. It's an opinion, a perspective based on one person's mental speculation. And the mind is very active. It creates, we all know how active the mind is. It creates all kinds of fantasy. Yeah, the world of fantasy. It's also called Maya, the world of illusion. So, Ritvikism, very popular now because of the lawsuit that came up in India between ISKCON, and I saw Yashodanandana Prabhu this morning, a speech by one of the senior vice presidents or presidents of the ISKCON Bangalore group. So I thought I'd take a time, because he's a so-called leader, to hear him speak. Now, remember this, everybody. When a person speaks, they reveal themselves. Yes. And for an astute listener, and we're not claiming to be big devotees, but we're astute listeners, you can analyze the speech, you can analyze the logic, and then you understand where this person is coming from, who trained him. I don't know who trained this guy, Prabhus, to speak so much nonsense philosophically from ISKCON Bangalore. Very shallow, actually. And he was talking about our opportunity now to serve Prabhupada now that we've won the court case. Oh, really? Because you won a court case? And we're jubilant. We're so ecstatic because we won a court case. Very reminiscent of the Gaudiya Math back in the 30s when Bhaktisiddhanta left this mortal plane. Then his disciples fought over the control of the different mats. And this became a court case. And now we have the same thing between ISKCON in India, not up here in Canada or America or Mexico, but specifically in India. And it's a big deal that they won this court case, and now they're allowed to be respected as a legitimate organization by the court. Is it authorized by Krishna? Is it authorized by our Guru according to Shastra? And it is authorized by the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Our main goal is to preach this simple principle that Prabhupada lives in sound, that he is eternally present with us. And if we want to properly follow this process of Krishna consciousness, we simply have to accept this principle, not that now that we won the court case, we're legitimate. Legitimacy does not come from the courts. It comes from the Shastras. Yes, it does. And Prabhupada said that very clearly and has said it so many times to us. So the position of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, is that we are using the same system that Prabhupada gave us while he was physically present with us. Now, someone brought that up to Vishvakarma Das, that fellow, and they said, there has never been a time when Prabhupada ever engaged someone as a Ritvik. I wrote back to the person on Facebook. I said, excuse me, thank you very much, but we, the temple presidents, were put in that role of Ritvik back in the 70s. That was the way it worked. For example, someone came and joined the temple. Okay, and we had lots of people coming and going. Like in our group, we have lots of people that come and go. You've seen the roster change over a period of time, and some people stay and some people go. for whatever reason, Maya or philosophical bewilderment or poison. So the people would come and we had a program, we had a system, we had a brahmachari ashram and a brahmacharini ashram in the Toronto temple. And what we would do is review the person, their behavior over 6 months period. Oh yes. Do you come to Mangal Arti? Do you attend the classes? Do you chant your rounds? Are you prepared to go out and accept austerity in the service of the spiritual master? Tapasya. It's sacrifice. So after examination of the person's behavior over a period of 6 months, then the devotees that we worked together with are senior members of the temple who had already qualified in the process and had been initiated. We would review the person's performance. Yes, it's a matter of showing how you are going to be a devotee. Then I would compose a letter to Srila Prabhupada. I sent some letters to Prabhupada. I was very cautious to try to engage in conversation with Prabhupada ever. Even when I drove him as a chauffeur, I never asked a question. It's not the position of the disciple to bother the spiritual master with frivolous questions. Well, I was very silent all the time. That was a blessing for me. I just listened and did what I was told. Whatever was requested by me, we did it. So at any rate, I sent the letter to Prabhupada with a list of the names that were had become qualified according to our understanding of the philosophy to become disciples. And then Prabhupada would send me back a letter. And in the letters, I have some letters from Prabhupada, he would tell me things. And then he would say, and in regards to Jita Kantarpa, Rodney Mort, that was his name. That's one example. Or Norm Rankins, Nakadi Das. I hereby accept them as disciples. Okay. And you please perform the sacrifice and give them a chant, the Gayatri mantra to them. Not by tape, but you do it. And if they were second initiation. And in this way, these people were initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and we acted as the officiating priest. That's all. It was a priest, a person that had been deputed by the spiritual master to act on his behalf due to practicality, common sense. And in this way, the Prabhupada disciples back then and now, Prabhupada Disciples Association expanded, not became my disciple. We do not initiate anyone. We qualify people. You have to qualify people. That's intelligence. Whether you're in business, of karmi work, for example, I used to, in real estate, if a person was trying to get a mortgage, what was the first thing that you had to do? I did not tens of millions, many millions of dollars in loans with people. They used to come to my office and I would qualify them. There's a criteria for it. And if they qualified, and if they were accepted by the lender, then they got their money. This is the same way. You have to be qualified, and you're required you're subjected to review. But the people that are reviewing are not in this case, they're not the initiators. This is the lack of understanding that these groups have, how Prabhupada is operating. And so many of them whether it's ISKCON Bangalore, or they don't really have this experience. They don't. We have firsthand experience, and we're explaining it clearly and succinctly to everyone in this group and other groups. And the conclusion, and I'm going to end this up, is that our conclusion is most people, and Prabhupada said that, even in his manifested presence, most people do not read his books. They don't. They pretend to, but they don't read them. And not just read them, forensically read them. And we're very blessed, Pure Angelo, and all of us are, that we have somebody leading our group, our senior editor, Yashodanandana Prabhu, and he's going to dislike me for saying this, I know that, and I apologize, Prabhu. I'm not trying to embarrass me. He is, and Prabhupada told him, and Guru Kripa, I believe, that they were the foremost preachers of Krishna consciousness during his manifested presence. And believe me, and I know this is a fact, so all of you can be reassured, he forensically studies these books. He does. And he proves it every time he makes a presentation in our program. How many people have you ever heard speak so prolifically and so spontaneously about their relationship with Srila Prabhupada personally in your entire history as devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement? Have you ever heard them? Have you? And the answer is no. So this is a very great opportunity for us, for all of us, not just us, but our group. And someone sent me a question today, one of my god sisters, who's been, how can I say, tormented and tortured by the ISKCON group and wouldn't give it up till now she finally realizes that they don't care about her. And she said, well, who reviews the posts in the Prabhupada Disciples Association Facebook page? And I told her, I said, we have a group of people that we work with that I don't review them all, but our other Vijaya Pandit and our other people do, and we depute to them, go ahead, review, because we have over 23,000 members. This is not a small thing what we're up to. And this will grow as we go along. Yes, we are 100%. Pure Angelo, we are 100% guaranteed of success. Now someone will say, well, how could you be? Because Prabhupada is with us in sound, and we represent that in our classes to all of our membership. And we expect them to do what, Pure Angelo? Do the same. Do not change anything. And I hope this is an understanding for everyone that's watching this, even the spies from ISKCON and these other Ritvik groups that are so-called named, that this is the fact how you should preach. Do not concoct, do not change anything, simply follow in the footsteps of our spiritual master. His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Haribol, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to move forward with our very interesting program. And please stay on board because there's a lot of information that's going to come out with this chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. Just chant along, be a part of it. Don't sit there and just listen. Participate. It's good that you're listening, but participate. That's what we do. This is a real eternal pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of the demigods, of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and our spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and everybody is watching us. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's go ahead, Rupa Goswami. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for attending. We so much appreciate it.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana. Yashodanandana Braja Jananandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Not from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, two, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, three, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then four, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Thanks everyone for coming to this reading and discussion. I see on the chat there's a lot of discussion about alleged comments that we have made about ISKCON Bangalore. We will be discussing this a little bit later in the program. Rest assured, just as a preliminary, before we read the auspicious verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing the powerful message of Srimad Bhagavatam, that both Vishnukam and myself, we have nothing against ISKCON Bangalore. We wish them all the very best success, and we congratulate them on their court victory. Try to understand, whoever that critic, whatever you are, whoever you are, try to understand what we've been saying. Let us proceed with the program, and we will continue this discussion a little bit later in the program. Let us display the verses here. Yadanudyasina yukta karma granti nibandanam chindanti kovidastasya kuna kuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message? Shushrushoho sradadhanasya vasudeva kataruchihi syan mahat sevaya vipraha punyatirtani shevanat. Or the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Srinvatam svakata Krishnaha punyasravana kirtanaha hridyantasto hyabadrani vidhunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, thus cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who have developed the urge for hearing is Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashtaprayeshu vabhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye chetaye terana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time, the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarvasamshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishtayevatmanishwari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. Let us proceed with our reading of this verse. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapters 5 or 6, whatever, text 37. It should be noted that this reading is being conducted on the basis of the original 1962 New Delhi edition, and all English synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Sutta uvacha evam sambhasya bhagavan Nārada vasavi sutam amantriya vinamranayam yayo yadrikichito muni. Sutta Goswami uvacha said, evam thus, sambhasya addressing, Bhagavan transcendentally powerful, Nārada Muni, Vasavi of the name, Sutam son, Amantriya inviting, Vinam instrument, Ranayan vibrating, Yayo went, Yadrik wherever, Itchaku willim, Muni sage. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami said, thus addressing Vyāsa Deva, Srila Nārada Muni took leave from him and vibrating on his instrument, Veena, left the spot for wandering at his free will. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Every living being is anxious for full freedom because that is transcendental nature. And this freedom of life is obtained only through the transcendental service of the Lord. Illusioned by the external energy everyone thinks that he's free, but actually he's bound up by the laws of nature. A conditioned soul cannot freely move from one place to another, even on this earth, and what to speak of one planet to another. But a full-fledged free soul like Nārada, always engaged in the matter of chanting the Lord's glory, is free to move not only on the earth, but also in any part of the universe, as well as in any part of the spiritual sky also. We can just imagine the extent and unlimitedness of freedom as good as that of the Supreme Lord. There is no reason or obligation for his traveling, and nobody can stop him from his freedom movement. Similarly, the transcendental system of devotional service is also free. It may or may not develop in some particular person, even by undergoing all the detailed formulas. Similarly, the association of the devotee is also free. One may be fortunate to have it, or one may not have it even by thousands of endeavor. Therefore, in all spheres of devotional service, freedom is the main pivot. Without freedom, there is no execution of devotional service. The freedom surrendered to the Lord does not mean that the devotee becomes dependent in every respect. To surrender unto the Lord through the transparent medium of spiritual master means to obtain complete freedom of life. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadate Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaham Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Presta Satakaromisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's very important to understand that our particular group, the HKS and PDA, the Hare Krishna Society, Prabhupada Disciples Association, we don't want to offend anyone by any of our comments, any of our statements, anything we have said. If anybody takes offense, we respectfully and humbly apologize. But the reality is, everybody who has followed this program for a little while knows that we have been emphasizing one thing. It's called the Vani incarnation of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement, or Hare Krishna Movement. Why is it that this point is so important? Because Srila Prabhupada himself made that point very important. If you study a little bit, and if you look in the PrabhupadaBooks.com or the Prabhupada Folio or any of these search engines and look at the words as it is, or the words no change, the word no speculation, you will get hundreds of references from Srila Prabhupada explaining very nicely why the Krishna consciousness movement was successful. Because Prabhupada explained many times, because he presented the message of Bhagavad Gita exactly as it is, as it was intended. Now, what we have seen, this was taking place also during the manifested presence of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Certain individuals took it upon themselves to start changing and re-editing Srila Prabhupada's original Lotus books under the guise of grammatical correctness or English correctness. But Prabhupada did not approve of this. For those who know the conversation called the Rascal Editor's Conversation on June 22nd, 1977, when it was brought to Prabhupada's attention that some of his books were being re-edited right during his presence, one of his first points was all the editors, GBCs, whoever was involved in the English editing, Sanskrit editing, God knows what else, whoever else was involved, they cannot change anything. Now, again, I've mentioned many times as part of this program, the English language is not my first language. I was born in Canada, in Quebec, where they speak French. French was my first language. And I'm not very well educated as far as academic qualification, and I'm not pretending to be very educated in any other way. But one thing I know from working for legal departments and lawyers for over 30 years, when it says they cannot change anything, that is not very complicated to understand. Ce n'est pas difficile à comprendre. It is not very difficult to grasp what Prabhupada was trying to say. Stop changing my books. Later on in the conversation, we brought to Srila Prabhupada how the Ishopanishad, we were discussing with Srila Prabhupada, how the Ishopanishad in the Gurukul teaching, we had 3 different editions of Ishopanishad. And we brought to Srila Prabhupada that this is not the original 1969 Ishopanishad that Srila Prabhupada wrote. And Prabhupada's reaction is, the next printing again should be the original way. Now, some very clever devotee once told me, oh, that only applies to Ishopanishad. No. You mean to say that one book should be returned the original way and all the original books should be re-edited and changed? No, that was not what Prabhupada was trying to say. There is a very nice booklet that has been published by a devotee named Jitarati Prabhu. He's done tremendous service to Prabhupada's mission by showing the various changes in the Bhagavad Gita, all the pictures that were changed and so many things that were changed. And anybody who is reasonably acquainted with this issue knows that many devotees have protested against all these changes. And even from a Sampradaya tradition point of view, the oldest Vaishnava Sampradaya is the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, sometimes known as the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and the Madhva Sampradaya. They never changed one syllable of their Acharya's writings. Now, there has been subsequent Acharyas or other Acharyas after the original Acharyas who have written commentaries and notes and different purports on the original writing of the Acharya. Okay, that is acceptable. That practice, but not that you change the words of the Acharya claiming that this is the original intent. That is simply nonsense. So what we've been trying to say is, do not change the Vani incarnation of Srila Prabhupada. And making accusations and nonsense offensive statements against Hayagriva, Prabhupada's personal chosen editor, his first editor in 1967-68, will not help solve the issue. Now, whoever is that person that has been mentioning different statement here, name, you, he, phone, whoever. You should identify yourself so we know who you are. Please identify yourself so we have some kind of an idea. Don't hide behind some kind of cell phone. Okay, if there are no original books available, don't change the origin, don't distribute bogus books. Don't change adulterated books. This is the point that Krishna Katha Prabhu is trying to make. What to speak of the nonsense, non-authorized so-called biography of Srila Prabhupada, the so-called Lilamrita, which is still being distributed in South India by some of these groups. Why misrepresent Prabhupada's teachings? Why? We know that some groups are promoting a nonsense Mayavadi that Prabhupada has many times criticized in his books. Why are you promoting this person? Why are you putting his pictures in some of your programs? You think that Prabhupada would be pleased promoting this nonsense Mayavadi? And Prabhupada one time said, he has spoiled Vedic culture. He has spoiled Indian culture. Just because his ideas are popular with many people does not make it right according to a Vaishnava philosophy. Why are you promoting him? What is this idea? What to speak of promoting a video where you say that Krishna was a fable? Krishna was a legend? What are you talking about? Get your brain straight. If you don't understand the philosophy that Prabhupada taught, don't present yourself as a big preacher for Prabhupada. First, understand the philosophy as it was taught by Srila Prabhupada. None of this Mayavadi nonsense. None of these nonsense so-called videos. What are you doing, whoever you are? We're not attacking anybody. We're not criticizing anybody. We're trying to present the teachings of Prabhupada as it is, as it was presented by his divine grace. How difficult is that to comprehend? How complicated is that to understand? Prabhupada was very, very upset many times when devotees would concoct all kinds of ideas. We know in 1976 of a devotee who wrote a letter to Prabhupada asking Prabhupada's blessings so he could find a real guru. And his nonsense idea was that the disciplic succession that has been given by Srila Prabhupada in his Bhagavad Gita, which comes from his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, this disciplic succession did not give all the names of the warm living guru bodies, this whole living guru idea, of all the name of the living Diksha gurus of everybody. The original reply that was given by his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, is that we are emphasizing the great Mahabhagavata in the disciplic succession in their teachings. We're not minimizing anybody, but Prabhupada was upset with the impudent attitude of that so-called disciples, and he kicked them out of his society. He sent he sent a telegram to the entire society that this individual had become a black snake. Now try to understand what we're saying here. We're not engaging in false criticism of any devotee or of any group, with to speak of any Ritvic group, but do not misrepresent Prabhupada's teachings. We are watching, we are monitoring. We regularly receive many complaints about many different groups, all the way from people claiming that Ritvics during Prabhupada's time got their feet washed. So many nonsense ideas are being propagated under the name of so-called Ritvics, of so-called preaching. If you don't understand the philosophy, if you can't get it, then don't make outlandish statements. Do not make crazy statements. Do not speak like a madman. Why do we speak like this? Because we want to make sure that devotees have a unified philosophy, a unified understanding. What is the position of Srila Prabhupada? offering nice fruits and flowers in big garlands. That is beautiful. The whole world applauds anybody who does that. That is great. But let us not forget, Srila Prabhupada himself, in his poetry and to his godbrothers in the late 1950s, he says, a festival of fruits and flowers does not constitute real worship, but following the instruction and order of the spiritual master does. Now, we do know that Prabhupada did not want his books to be changed because these books were directly spoken by Krishna himself to Srila Prabhupada. When they're being adulterated and modified and changed and transformed, it's something else. He has seen the truth, and they have seen the truth is entirely two different philosophies. Jagannath Das Babaji initiated Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They didn't like that because it did not fit into their political philosophy, into their monopoly business. Therefore, they changed it. Who are you to change Prabhupada's words? Who gave you the authority to change Prabhupada's words? Whoever you are. So many times people would reply to all this, oh, our GBC, various groups, the original GBC of ISKCON and other GBCs, has decided this and that. Decided in discussion with whom? Discussion with whom? We saw this in 1978 when we had attempted to have some discussion with some leaders of the society, asking them, where did you get all these ideas here of appointed acharya, guru pujas, pictures on the altar, pranam mantras, all of these new inventions? And the argument that was brought forward was, where is the evidence from Prabhupada? Where did Prabhupada discuss any of these things in the last few months of his manifested presence? They didn't really have a reply. One of them says, well, we got these ideas from the advisor in Navadvip. Oh, that may be. Various advisors can suggest so many things. But who is our ultimate advisor? Who is our ultimate authority in this movement? People that Prabhupada decried? People that Prabhupada criticized for disobeying Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's order? These are the advisors? Or individuals who didn't do anything to help Srila Prabhupada in the West when he came here? How are these people qualified to advise and interpret Prabhupada's statements? But when we brought these points to them, oh no, afterwards, then all hell broke loose. Then we were declared enemy of the state, envious, rascals in Maya, demons. Even there were threats of physical beating, threats of assassination. I thought this was a joke, personally, until Sulochan was assassinated. So don't be victimized by the propaganda of self-appointed gurus, by the LJEP, the Living Guru Experimental Project. Do not be victimized by political propaganda, regardless of where it comes from, whether it's the main institution or any other group. Again, we're not against any of these groups, whether they call themselves Ritvik, Snitvik, Bitvik, or Prabhupada Anugas, or whatever kind of Anugas they think they are. If they're chanting Hare Krishna, worshiping Krishna, but don't change Prabhupada's books and don't distribute nonsense, modified, adulterated books, whoever you are. Prabhupada would not be pleased with this. I know. I was right in front of Prabhupada when he kicked me out of his room. After that conversation, on June 22nd, 1977, everybody dispersed, and I happened to be in Prabhupada's room, right in front of his desk. And Prabhupada took his paperweight. In India, they have a paperweight, a crystal paperweight, to prevent the papers from flying off when the fan is turning. He took his paperweight and banged right on the desk, and I was stunned. I was startled. And he pointed his finger angrily at me and says, you there, you there. Says, you tell them, these GBCs, if they change one word of what I've written, it will spoil everything I've done. Now get out of here and go write a letter. I was like frozen. Prabhupada, didn't you hear what I said? Get out of here. Go write a letter. Come back in here when you have written a letter to them. So I went out, I drafted a letter, showed it to the late secretary. I don't know if anything ever happened. I sent it. What did they do? What did they do? They disobeyed Prabhupada's instruction. 5,000 changes, 5,000 changes there. They never rectified, they never followed Prabhupada's instruction. The next printing again should be the original way. Was that instruction obeyed? Did they follow that instruction? Est-ce qu'ils ont suivi cette demande de Prabhupada, cette instruction de Prabhupada? No, no. Do not be fooled by false propaganda. Do not be fooled. Study carefully Prabhupada's book. Read these books, study these books. We're all familiar with that conversation in Australia, where one devotee Amoga told Srila Prabhupada there is a lawyer who did some service for the movement there under Vyāsa Prabhu, and he kept a set of Prabhupada's books. And he said that he didn't read all the books, he didn't have time, but he kept the books and he thought the books were very nice. And Prabhupada said he's appreciating the books, that is very good, because these books are representative of God, the original books. The new change modified books, that's something else. That's a new philosophy. This caste Brahmin monopoly philosophy. Do not be victimized by the false propaganda of these people. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, glories to Prabhupada, and thank you very much for your presentation today at our Srimad Bhagavatam class. And I wanted to further articulate the understanding of pure devotee. Pure devotee means Uttama Adhikari, of the highest level, not of this material world. And we were taught in the early years when Prabhupada came to us from India that the pure devotee is a via transparent medium of Krishna, of Lord Chaitanya. You understand what that means, Vijaya Pandit? Via transparent medium. In other words, the senses, the material senses of the conditioned soul are no longer the property of that conditioned soul, but they become the property of Krishna by total sacrifice. The person sacrifices their individual free will, their individual personality to the service of the spiritual master. 100%. Actually, sannyas means you're materially dead, actually. You're no longer in this material world. That's the example that Lord Chaitanya demonstrated for all of us. So in the same way, in terms of sound vibration, you want to get sound vibration from a via transparent medium. Yes, because it's the sound vibration is in form. It's not just prajalpa. It's a form, a transcendental form of God coming via the spiritual master. Let me give this example, everyone. If you're sick, do you want to go to a third-class surgeon for an operation? Do you? No. I have personal experience of being operated on 5 times for cancer. Urinary bladder cancer. I had multiple tumors in my body. But in Hamilton, there is a high-level surgeon there, Matsumoto, Dr. Matsumoto. And very humble man, actually, very humble, even though in medical service, these people are like Dharma Bhavana, you know it. When the surgeon comes in the room, all the staff are quiet. They don't say a word. Have you ever been operated on, Pure Angel, by a major surgeon? Well, if you haven't, then you'll learn this is the etiquette. Nobody speaks. What to speak of the bona fide spiritual master, the representative of Lord Chaitanya? Do you all of a sudden start to change things because you want to become famous? Everybody wants fame, but that's going on. In the material world, people are looking for fame. They're looking for money. Yes, it's a business, the guru business. Let me ask you this question, Dharma Bhavana. When you go shopping for gold for your wife, okay, when you try to get her some gold jewelry, do you go for imitation gold? No. And if your wife finds out that you got her imitation gold and you tell her I got you 24 karat gold, you might get a divorce. Get out, you fool. So when you go searching for gold, you go for pure gold. When you go for searching for truth, everybody, this is a message of truth. It's not a message of fraud. Truth and fraud are two different stories. And the problem is, after Prabhupada's physical departure from the material plane here, so many neophyte people tried to usurp this opportunity of truth for their own personal benefits. And we all know that. This is common sense. But it's important to understand that Prabhupada's words are an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. It's not just reading books. It's associating with the pure devotee in sound. And in teaching or learning anything, how do you do it? Pure Angelo, do you go to the school and you sit there and draw figurines in a book while the professor is speaking and expect to get a PhD? I have many friends that are PhDs, personal friends. And they have explained to me how they got their PhD. And it was by attentive application to the process that they were focusing on in order to get that recognition. So, in the same way, we, as disciples of Srila Prabhupada, want to make sure we're getting the gold, not the imitation gold. We want to make sure that we're getting the sound vibration from Krishna through the do you get this? Through the transparent medium of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, namely His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And that's why we're explaining about this change disease, because it adulterates it. And you're going to get the message, whether it's from change books or people that change the philosophy for their own personal benefits. And they preach Mayavadi philosophy, actually, even within the context of different groups. They misrepresent it. And is that serious? Well, for a neophyte, it isn't true. Neophyte doesn't know anything anyway. Just like we had this Prabhu came on the air here and made some comments. And by the way, Yashoda, I had a private conversation during the talk with him. And I asked him very straightforward, who are you? Please tell me. What is your devotional resume? So we can have a dialogue. Because he said, well, we're supposed to have dialogue here, aren't we? I said, sure, we can have dialogue. In fact, I said, if you have any questions about anything that was said, then here's my phone number. I gave him, and he sent back, I apologize for not maybe speaking properly in our group. So he apologized privately on this talk. Okay. But I still asked him, who are you? Can you give us your name? No, he did not. He refuses. He's hiding from the truth because we are speaking the truth. And by the way, he said, well, you made a comment. I never commented about the leader of that group in Bangalore. I said it was one of his downlings, his representatives who made a speech, and I listened to the speech and made an analysis. Am I qualified? Yes, I am. I am qualified to be a representative of Srila Prabhupada and analyze what these people are doing to destroy the disciplic succession of our guru. This is a science. If you don't know it, then admit it. But otherwise, if you have questions, step forward. We'll answer them. And if we can't, we have a large group of members that do know the answers. We are not by ourselves. And by the way, everybody, I wanted to make this comment, and I'm going to deviate for 1 second. We have a group of devotees around the world that are preaching. Yes, they are. In Italy, in Japan, in Mexico, especially with Krishna Kishore and his wife, Giridhari. They're very nice devotees. They're very successful. And they're also preaching the truth of the matter in South America. So different people are coming. They're coming this week to see me. Yashodananda has provided a name for these new people from Argentina, and they're bringing the beads here. I'll chant a rounds on the beads. They'll be given back to them. And Kishore, Krishna Kishore, is going to do the fire sacrifice. And like this, we're expanding the number of Prabhupada disciples to protect the legacy for future generations. Understand our methodology, everyone. And that we're not concocting it. And that's why we stress this sound vibration from Srila Prabhupada should not be changed. And this lady, someone made a comment, please give us a booklet. There are thousands of quotes to support what we're saying, and we're coming out with the complete guide to self-realization and other wonderful literatures, which will be announced later, from Srila Prabhupada, unchanged, unedited, unadulterated, so that people will get an opportunity to become enlightened. Yes. Do you want to be enlightened, or do you want to be confused? Rochisha Devi Dasi. Do you want to be enlightened? You can by the association of Srila Prabhupada. And the point is, carefully, that the current literature that is being distributed in India, for us, India is a different world. True. And myself, I'm not afraid to go to India. They might do something to me, but I'm not afraid. But at the same time, what's the point? There's so much confusion there. Very big confusion in that country, Mr. Yu. And it's being revealed in the circumstances that are there, not in my speech. There's much. We're not interested. And they're distributing the unauthorized biography of Srila Prabhupada by Steve from Gitanagari. I went there many years ago. It was quite nice. But nonetheless, he's there propagating falsities, indoctrination, and misrepresenting in these books that they're distributing the position of the pure devotee of Krishna, of Lord Chaitanya. And we are going to release a book in due course, which will refute, with Yashoda's team, refute these falsities that are coming in this Leela Marita. It's very important. We have to go step by step. That's how we're going to work. And we're asking everyone to come with us. Whatever, yeah, okay, well, here, well, tell me a specific point. So we're going to do that right now, Sarabi Kumar. We're going to go to the unauthorized review, or the review of the unauthorized biography of Srila Prabhupada with Yashodananda and his team. And we're going to, this is going to point out specific reasons why this is unauthorized in this section of our program. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you very much for this. We're continuing our review of the Lilamrita. This is Lilamrita Review, part number 3, page number 10. The Lilamrita speculates that the Nitya Siddha devotee Srila Prabhupada was shaken due to the conflict of mundane family life and the orders of his spiritual master. He knew it was not an ordinary dream, but the request seemed so difficult and unlikely. Take sannyas. At least this was not something he could do immediately. Then we have from the Lilamrita, Book 1, page 118. He went on with his duties, but remained shaken by the dream. Then we have Lilamrita, book number 1, page 140. And again Abai had to put the dream aside. He was a householder with many responsibilities, but to take sannyas. To take sannyas would mean to give up everything. He had to earn money. He now had 5 children. Why is Guru Maharaj asking me to take sannyas? He thought it was not possible now. Then we have from Lilamrita, book number 1, page 120. Of course, there could be a compatible balance between family service and devotional service. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has described 2 simultaneous obligations. Excuse me again. 2 simultaneous obligations, bodily and spiritual, social status, mental development, cleanliness, nourishment, and the struggle for existence were all bodily obligations. The activities of devotional service to Krishna were spiritual, and the 2 should run parallel to one another. In Bhaktivinoda's life, his family was a source of spiritual encouragement, and he used his social position to advance in preaching. But Abai's experience had been different. The 2 paths seemed to be at war, each threatening the other's existence. He felt himself operating somewhat like the materialist he had criticized in his writings, absorbed in the struggle for existence with insufficient time for self-realization. However, Srila Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 20, text number 6, how can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regards to house, children, wealth, and similar other bodily conceptions? Srila Prabhupada further explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 2, Chapter 4, text number 2, a devotee of the Lord never thinks of his household paraphernalia as his own, but surrenders everything for the service of the Lord. Attachment for household paraphernalia and for Lord Krishna go poorly together. Srila Prabhupada further explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 13, text number 46. The conclusion is that a Paramahamsa is an exalted devotee, Bhagavat Priya. Such a Paramahamsa may be in any stage of life, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, or sannyas, and be equally liberated and exalted. Srila Prabhupada further explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 5, Chapter 1, text number 2. Devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs. Finally, Srila Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, text number 44. One becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth, In this way, one increases his life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. The attraction for material things is certainly due to illusion. There's no value in attraction to material things, for the conditioned soul is diverted by them. One's life is successful if he's absorbed in the attraction of Krishna's strength, beauty, and pastimes, as described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Regarding Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statements on bodily and spiritual obligation, that does not apply to the pure devotee, but to the conditioned soul who is advancing in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada verifies this truth in his purport to the Sri Ishopanishad. Sri Ishopanishad, page 103. As long as the proportion of devotional service does not come to the right point, there is an occasional exhibition of worldliness. We'll leave it here for now. I just want to point out here one of the points in the purport that we have here, where Srila Prabhupada describes about devotional service not being always available, even if one tries for it. I've pulled a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8, text number 70. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8, text 70. Krishnadas Kaviraj quotes Rupa Goswami, Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukriter Nalabhyate. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is, intense greed to obtain it. Thank you. Thank you. Intense greed to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So this is a very important verse, and Prabhupada has spoken many times about this point. There is a lecture that he gave, let me just see here, on Vrindavan on March 13th, 1974. March 13th, 1974, a lecture on Adilila, chapter 7, text 91, where Prabhupada says, here Rupa Goswami says that your price, you purchase at any price, but what is that price? Tatra lolyam mekalam mulyam. Lolyam, eagerness, that is the price. That is the only qualification. You must be very, very eager to see the lotus feet of Krishna in this very life. You must be very eager to talk to Krishna in this very life. You must be, but not to become sahajya. By service, Krishna talks with the devotee, but not with non-devotee. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam, Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Only persons who are always engaged in Krishna's service. He has no other business. Satata. Satata means 24 hours. He has no other business. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam. And the bhajatam means in service. You must find out always some opportunity how to render service to Krishna. That is the qualification. It doesn't matter what you are. You may be this or that. It doesn't matter. But this eagerness for service can be acquired by anyone simply by sincerity. That is the price. Thank you very much. Back to you in the studio. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And this is very important for everyone to know, is that through the process of devotional service, Krishna reveals himself to you. It's from within the heart, because Krishna is within all of us. And we're insignificant, no question. But Prabhupada gave us the secret of how to become Krishna conscious. Serve in such a way, Prabhupada taught us, that Krishna will want to see you. Yes, attract Krishna to you by your service. And it's a very simple, common sense method. You simply work your whole life to please Krishna's pure devotee. That's as simple as it is. So act in such a way that Krishna will see you. And in this way, you will become Krishna conscious, because vijnanam, you will get realization. Not simply jnanam, knowledge, but through practice. Chant your Krishna is present. He dances on the tip of your tongue. He is non-different from his sound and his form. Simple. Is that hard to understand? And then if you have a chance, like we are providing service to other people to serve Prabhupada. Yes, like during the conversation today, we've had this interesting chat on our, on the class. And I've been talking to the different people, like for example, this you guy, Yashoda, he's all of a sudden, he was here and now he's gone. He just disappeared. Oh, goodbye. I asked him, who are you? Send me your resume. Tell us something about, not be this mysterious coward in the background trying to make comments and then not represent who you are. I sent him my phone number. We had someone else I was chatting with as well, just to see if they're interested in service. Are you interested? Look at, this is the problem, Pure Angelo. I'm reaching out to people like Romeshwar all the time. Like him, I'm not going to list the name. And what am I doing it for? Because I want them to join us, not to attack us, to become part of this intelligent discussion of philosophy. Look at dissension is something that happens in every group, like in franchise system. In a franchise system, there are dissenters. There are people that are against the main franchise people. But what they do is they don't reject them, they embrace them. And they've tried to resolve the problem by intelligent conversation. But will anyone join us? No, because these people are compromised. This is common sense. When you're compromised, if you've got a nice apartment and you've got your rent paid, you don't have to work, your food comes, you get all these, you know what it's like in the temple, Mother Uchisha? I mean, they bring you all these platters of mixed foods and you get to choose this and that, and then your clothes are laundried by other people, and then you get a ride in a car, and you get airplane tickets to go here and there. Are you going to give that up, Pure Angelo? Well, he shakes his, no, you're not. Unless you're really sincere about serving Srila Prabhupada. But if you're not, you're compromised. And this is the problem. Material life is a very difficult problem for most people. How many? 99.9% of the people on this planet are in Maya, period, including most of the people that take up spiritual life and think, oh, now I become advanced. A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing, everyone. And that's the problem. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you could share. And then we'll ask Vijaya Pandit to speak. Go ahead, Dharma Bhavana, Prabhu. Go ahead.
And unmute here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Haribo.
Yeah, there's been so many
Yeah.
comments on the court case. You can almost like make your head spin. I don't know what to think. But I was thinking to myself that in Lord Chaitanya's pastime, they had this Chandkazi, and he got all these breaking the drums and harassing the Vaishnava devotees. And Lord Chaitanya exhibited this, gathered a civil disobedience movement. It may seem kind of political, like the word civil disobedience, but it's a pastime of the Supreme Lord. So I'm thinking how this kind of court case may be viewed differently, but it seems to be, part of the pastimes of the Sankirtan movement.
It is.
not to make anything less of it or more than what it is, but it's kind of something in history that'll go down, that where Prabhupada's name is being more and more, his teachings or practices or directives are being more and more discussed. So it seems like that's kind of a good thing in that way. And I was, that's mostly, and also I was reflecting back how Prabhupada was not in 1977. He had all these great powers. He'd be in America and authorizing Diksha initiations in India and Africa and other places. And he would be lying in his bed in Vrindavan and giving this great transcendental knowledge, removing people's sins. He had these great powers, but it's hardly anybody can imagine how great they are. Yet at the same time, some people are making up philosophically that on November 14th, 1977, at that time he lost all his powers because he's not physically present. It seems like all these important points are being discussed now. And that's just some thoughts that I had. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Yes. You know, there's controversy. Yes, there's always controversy in every circle. It's been the way since Lord Chaitanya's time with us. Look at how much, in fact, he organized the civil disobedience march. But when they saw the power of Lord Chaitanya, they realized that this should be something they should be concerned about for their own personal circumstances. Because everyone is individual, always sarva, dharma bhavana. Remember, we are on our own. When you die on your own. You can have somebody hold your hand, okay, fine. But what is that going to do? Nothing. What you do throughout your life will determine what you think about at the time of death. That's why we always encourage everyone, even if your rounds are, let's say, not good, they should be done every day until they become good. You keep practice. That's what life is. Practice makes perfect. You read every day. And look at how fast these classes come, eh? Do you see how fast they come? I'm shocked. I'm staying here at the villa in Mexico, and Gopal's sister is here. And I'm using her room right now because it's set up by the modem and blah, blah, blah. But every time I turn around and come into her, oh, by the way, I'm going to have to get in for the office here so I can do this broadcast on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Prabhupada ran these 3 programs. And you know what it's like because you're coming to all the classes. It's terrific. We love it. And a lot of you are coming to these classes on a regular basis, some less than some more. We're not interested. We're broadcasting these classes and cataloging them online on our YouTube channel. Yes, and we have hundreds of thousands of views of these classes, and they'll be available in the future for everybody. So for generations to come, if everything remains equal, who knows? But at any rate, we're using technology to spread the truth. Vijaya Pandit in Italy. Maybe you could make a few comments on today's program for us. Vijaya Pandit, go ahead. Don't be shy. Come on, speak. You're a great devotee.
Hare Krishna, Prabhus. Actually, today I'm in the mood to listen. I'm not in the mood to talk, if you really want to know.
Well, say a few words.
I have to learn many things. And to learn, I have to listen carefully.
What's your realization?
My realization?
Yeah.
That if we don't listen carefully, attentively, we can understand the real sadhu sangha of all these Vaishnavas here present right now. If we don't understand what happened in the past, what really happened in the past to all devotees, all this fraud, if you don't understand this, we can understand what we are talking about right now. So some people are not coming anymore. And some people hide and listen from some other phones like YouTube. They don't want to show their face. Some other people have enough to listen always these things repeatedly. But I say if they don't listen carefully, they will never understand what they done to the consciousness of these devotees. They destroy completely the faith, even in Srila Prabhupada. This is what I can say. So I have to listen carefully, you and all Vaishnavas here present. I was 20 days with Yashodananda Prabhu in association in his home. It was so special. Every day with him. So this is what I'm saying. The sadhu sangha is very important. Sometimes the truth is bitter, especially when we a habit to how to say, to be in a movement that you thought this movement is your life, and suddenly you figure out that they fraud you, but still you are attached in all these things and you can't understand deeply what really goes on. So it takes time for people. So not for me. This I can say, not for me. When I understood what they done, I just thought about myself. I just a new beginner. I just was few months in a temple when I figured out what they done. But I left everything when I joined in the movement in '87. I left everything. I was a hippie, and to earn my money, I was selling earrings, handmade earrings in the markets. This what I was doing. When I joined in the movement, I had no house. I was renting a house. So I left the material situation and joined in the movement. And after a few months, I figured out through devotees what these people done. So I had to stay in a temple. I had a daughter. I had to stay in a temple. If I go outside, I have no money anymore. Can you imagine a hippie? I'm not coming from rich families, absolutely. I'm coming from worker family. So this opportunity to me right now to be with a group that is spreading the truth is very important. And I want to stay with this group. This is my family. Finally, I find people that represent Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Shiv Narayan, have you got a microphone there in Japan? Shiv Narayan is helping us with our work in translating in Japanese and French. He's quite skilled, him and his wife. And we thank them both for being participants in our work to preserve the truth to other people. Shiv Narayan, can you speak? Maybe he doesn't have a microphone. Okay. Well, everyone, it's here in Yautepec, Mexico. It's about 95 degrees already. So it's getting warm. It's quite nice, I must say. It's like a paradise in a certain way. And it is 9:39 a.m. here in Yautepec. And we're moving forward. And we'll be back. Sorry, it's family is sleeping and I can't make noise with my children. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry about that. So that's the notice from Shiv Narayan. He's totally the opposite time. So, but I just want everybody to know, Krishna Katha, that this Shiv Narayan Prabhu and his family and his wife are stepping up and taking up service, and they're qualified, and it's a great thing for us. And I'm so excited. We're all excited when people start to understand the truth. This is what we're in the pursuit of, not fault finding. I can't stand fault finders personally. I've never been able to all my life. People fault find, that's okay. But some of us, we're not fault finders, We're truth finders. And if you listen carefully in our classes, the truth is here. We may make mistakes, but that is not our intent. Remember that. Our intent is not to fault find. It is to truth find and expose those people that are misrepresenting our disciplic succession for their own personal reasons. And that is called Maya. And Maya is a very powerful force, and we'll keep going. And thank you, everyone. I don't see if our God brother is here, but we'll keep going. We're going to have a short kirtan led by Srila Prabhupada, and then the closing prayers. And thank you, Forest Temple, you Prabhus there, for coming every week now, every week to the classes on time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's have that kirtan, Rupa Goswami, and chant along, everybody. Please, just chant along. Don't worry. Nobody's going to look at you. You're probably by yourself. You'll be all right. Haribo. Rupa Goswami.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the assembled devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayeva cha patitanam pavinibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. And I wanted to mention at the end here that the last section of the program is an acknowledgement of all the people that have supported our group financially, and also all the branch offices that are listed that will be distributing the books that we will be currently receiving from our printers. And it is acknowledgement of the different people that have taken up some service in helping us to produce the shows. So thank you, everyone. And we do have a kirtan be playing in the background, which is from a recording I did in Jamaica with Jamaican devotees. They were Christians, but I taught them how to chant, and as a result, we're using that as the background music. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday for Chaitanya Charitamrita class at, it'll be, I've got to remember now, it'll be 6 o'clock Yotapek time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll carry on with these, I would say, intriguing dialogues with all of you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram,
Hare
Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.